And now we're going to turn to the story out of Monroe County of a hiker who dares to join the elite ranks of world hikers. 28-year-old Preston Jones of Peterstown's in the midst of a 2,100-mile hike, the full length of the Appalachian Trail from the Peach State to the Pine Tree State. Jones started at Springer Mountain, Georgia on March 30th, and his destination is the top of Mount Katahdin in Maine. WVVA caught up with him and another thru hiker at the Appalachian Trailhead in Parisburg Monday. Photojournalist Jess Nuzzo shares his story through pictures and sound.
I started March 30th, and I'm about coming up on 700 miles in. I was pretty young when I decided, probably late middle school, early high school, just growing up so close to the trail. All of the day hikes that I would have gone on with friends or family were on the Appalachian Trails. So it was always in the back of my mind, and just as I got older and learned more about it, I decided that it was definitely something that I wanted to do, and I didn't know exactly when I would be able to, but I've always just been looking for the time to do it. Over the first, probably the first 3 or 4 weeks was really the adjustment period with your legs and your cardio and getting used to it. But after that, I felt like I could feel myself getting a lot stronger over that period. And this is my camp bag, I call it. It's just got my sleep clothes and all my electronics in it. And then I have my sleeping pad, my sleeping bag, and my tent. And that's everything that's inside my pack. During the peak season, which we're in right now, there's a lot of hikers out here, so it's less alone time than I think a lot of people would imagine, but the people that you're with, you're on the same level as all of them. A lot of like the differences that people have off the trail sort of disappear when you're on the trail, because you're all waking up, hiking, going to sleep. You're all doing the exact same thing.
My trail name is Turkish Delight. I celebrate my end of days typically by push-ups with my backpack on, and then I also do squats. The advice that I've been given, take it easy in the first couple weeks. Don't overdo it. Build your strength, and then things are happening naturally. And I guess that's really, and you don't have to have a reason to hike this.
Everybody seems to be an equal on the trail, and that's one of the better things. It's, you know, you can come out and sort of work on whatever it is that you want to work on, whatever it is you're looking for, and the people that you meet along the way are all looking for their own